This is our trip to Stehekin, Washington. For those who don't know, Staheken is a small town at the very tip of Lake Chelan, only accessible by boat or hiking or plane, I guess, if you really want to go that route. But so we booked the ferry, Lady of the Lake, and it is the slow boat. It's a 4-hour trip with several stops along the way. You also have the option of taking one of the express ones, but if it's your first time, I would highly suggest taking the Lady of the Lake on the way up and just enjoy the ride, and then maybe for the way back, book one of the express routes.
No. Anything that we want, we gotta take out, huh? Yeah.
They're passing us.
Maybe they shoot us a big old rooster. So great boat.
That's one of the express boats that leaves at the same time. I believe that one is a 2-hour trip, where ours was 4 hours. Now this was one of the first stops. This is Fields Point Landing. You can actually drive to this one. This is the furthest point you can drive to, and you can catch the ferry from there.
The fall is really nice because the days are warm. Maybe we can do it like later than
Now this stop is Prince Creek. A lot of people will get off here because they'll hike the 17-mile, what's called the Lakeshore Trail, from here to Staheken. And I guess it's a pretty good hike. I'd like to do that sometime. She's got a spot. Now I believe this is called Donkey Falls. This was early June or mid-June, so the water was flowing really quite powerfully. But the captain of the ship made sure we got a good look at it. I was joking.
It is! Wow. My golly. I bet you've never been that close to a waterfall. That's amazing. Look at that.
Your glasses are all Now this stop is Lucerne, and from my understanding, there's a road that goes about 12 miles up to a place called Holden Village, and these groups of people will lease the village out, I guess, and be up there for weeks at a time. I'm not real sure. We found out a little bit about it, but this particular case, I believe it was a religious group that was obviously hauling in a bunch of their supplies and going up for a while. Now this is Stehekin Landing, the end of the line for all of the ferries. From here you can grab shuttles to take you up to the different points, and or you can rent bicycles, you can rent side-by-sides. There's a nice restaurant, a little store, a lot of places located right here. See, we skip the Saturn and go for the Range Rover.
Yeah. There's a gas pump.
It's a little sedan.
There's a gas pump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so once they get done here, they'll start offloading off the boat. Yeah. So I might take my sweatshirt off.
Now this is the garden. It's located 1.5 miles up the road from Stehekin Landing. It's a privately owned garden, but open to the public. And obviously, he's got quite a large garden. And in the shed toward the back, he sells all kinds of stuff like soaps and little souvenirs and stuff. Now this is the Staheken Pastry Company. Very well known on the in the Staheken area. Lunches, pastries, drinks, all kinds of stuff are here. Now this is located 2 miles up the road from Stehekin Landing.
Wowie, wowie.
Coffee and it has coffee chunks, you know.
Now we rented the Stehekin Log Cabin number 2. It comes with this black Saturn SUV, and it has 1 queen bed and a few single beds up above upstairs, but very comfortable. Everything you need for a family or two. Log Cabin number 1 next door comes with a van. I believe it has 3 queen beds and maybe a couple other smaller beds, but probably a little bit better for 2, 3 or so families. Probably a little bit more expensive as well, but very comfortable. And these are located right behind the pastry company, so perfect location. Now this is the new Stehekin School, and I say new, it's about 30 years old, I believe, but it is 2.8 miles up the road from the Stehekin Landing, and it's also sort of a one-room schoolhouse, but I believe this year it has 8 students from kindergarten up through 8th grade. Now this is the old schoolhouse, the original one-room schoolhouse. It's been around for a long time, and it's 3.2 miles up the road from Stehekin Landing, but it's set up like a museum. It's got a lot of neat memorabilia inside, and we found it to be pretty cool. Lots of stuff to look at, a lot of pictures, a lot of neat little well, I love the desks, but it's just a neat place to go in and look around as well. This is cool.
Wow. Holy shit. Now we're talking. Oh, look.
Look at this.
Oh, look at this stove.
Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
This is the shit here.
3 old
God dang. I kept the kid one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the real death.
Wow.
At school.
3.5 miles up the road from Stehekin Landing is Rainbow Falls, and this is probably one of the neatest attractions, I think, on the entire place. Now this is the lower lookout, kind of, but very cool. And then here in a bit we'll go to the upper lookout area, and as you can see, the water is just flowing like crazy, and that's because of the early spring and the snowfall that is melting. It's getting wet, and that's just the mist from the falls. I'd have thought they'd have been bigger. Oh, wow. Now, 4 miles up the road is the Buckner Orchard. This old homestead was built, I guess, prior to 1910. It's still standing, barely, but it's set up like a museum. It's open to the public. It's very cool to look into and just kind of get a feel for what it was like back then.
So 7 is the fork in the road.
The house is all trying to go this way, so they have a bunch of framing and support beams outside to keep this house from toppling over. Now, 9 miles up the road from Staheken Landing is the Steheken Valley Ranch and Staheken Outfitters. Now, we had dinner here 2 nights we were there, and it's definitely worth it. Very good menu, really cool place, and they also have lodging up there. They rent bikes as well as e-bikes. You can go on horseback rides, and it's very worth going up to. Now, this log cabin, we were told the guy who built it had his own small plane, and he would fly his lumber up pieces at a time and just build it every time he went, he'd just add on a little bit more. It's one of the cooler cabins, I think, on the entire place. Here's some of the bikes that are for rent. This is at the Stehekin Landing and the side-by-side. Thank you for watching my video. I hope this helps and maybe answers some questions and answer some questions we had before we went. So if you go, have a great time.